Thank you for staying with us. It's time for Business Now, and Sandra Fenu is here. Hi, Sandra.
Hello, Araba. You're looking great.
So are you. So what's in business?
A lot in business, but first of all, let me ask you, if you were a shareholder and your bank makes so much profit,
Right.
yet you're not getting any dividend, how will you feel?
I would feel cheated, and I mean, it's so unfair. But I'm sure you have the details.
I have
They must have an
details why
explanation.
they are doing that. So
Right.
we have the details in business. Hello, good evening. My name is Sandra Esenam Afeno. I'm here for business. Ecobank Ghana is defending its decision to defer payments of dividends to shareholders despite an increase in profit in 2018. Managing Director of the bank, Dan Saki, says the bank is building its reserves after meeting the minimum capital levels, hence their inability to declare a dividend at the bank's annual general meeting in Accra. Some shareholders, however, expressed disappointment, adding the bank is equally not performing well on the Ghana Stock Exchange.
Ecobank Ghana closed the year with profit before tax at 133 million Ghana cedis, an increase of 36%. The growth has been largely attributed to increased revenue, lower impairment charges, and moderate increase in the cost of operations. Remittance revenue was 57 million cedis, representing 18% year-on-year growth. Despite this growth, the bank decided to defer dividend payment. Managing Director of the bank, Dan Saki, in response, says the bank is building its reserve before declaring dividends.
Meeting 400 is not the end of the game, but it is key that you maintain the appropriate capital levels to back the level of business that we do. If you look at Ecobank's position on the market, Ecobank's balance sheet and revenue generation capacity, it's important that we maintain adequate capital. So we did last year, what we did was to transfer part of the reserves we've built up over the years into stated capital. First of all, to meet the 400 million stated capital, and then secondly, to be able to ensure that we have adequate buffers for the business that we are running. This year, we'll continue to build on those buffers as part of the strategy to grow our business. Without adequate capital, we will not be in a position to grow our business.
In 2018, 78% of the bank's transactions were through its digital platforms.
When you have almost 80% of the interactions you have with the clients on digital channels, then obviously your need to use a branch will be lesser. Today we have clients who probably will not have been to the branch for the past 1 year, but have been able to access our financial services. The second thing we would like to also point out is that part of our digitization strategy involves having agencies where you can access basic banking services.
The bank's deposit also grew by 20% as at the end of a year. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, Bank of Ghana is yet to give regulatory approval for the partnership deal signed by Ecobank Ghana and GN Savings and Loans. The deal is to allow Ecobank Ghana provide clearance services for GN Savings and Loans checks as well as other services. Let's hear from the Managing Director of Ecobank Ghana, Dan Saki, again.
We were already providing clearing services for them. We were also providing remittance services. They were our sub-agents for remittance services. When you are not a bank, you cannot be a principal agent for remittance service. So GN Bank was our sub-agent. With their reclassification from a bank into a savings and loans, then they needed access to the clearinghouse. We provide them that access. So we have restored the partnership we had already before they became a bank. Our ability to provide clearing service ensures that when somebody has a check payable to GN, GN receives it and then we route that check for clearing purposes. So it allows GN to operate. The second thing it also does is that when that partnership is fully functional, it will also allow us to be able to exchange services and products with GN Bank. What it means is that will a client of Ecobank be able to access services when you walk into a GN Bank? It is possible once we finish we flesh out the entire partnership. So it's a win-win situation for both parties. I think for everything we do in the financial sector, you'd have to allow for the relevant regulatory processes to go through, and we don't want to preempt that. But once fully functional, we will make sure that those services are available.
London-based Economic Intelligence Unit is projecting some challenging times for Ghana's economy from next year. This was captured in its latest country report released this month. George Rafe has details of the report.
Going through the 22-page report, especially with aspects that focused on the economy, one word that can be used to describe it is interesting. This is because while the report points to some challenging times ahead, it is also optimistic about things improving. For now, let's focus on the Ghana cedi, inflation rate and economic growth, and what the unit is saying about these areas. Well, for those who thought that things are over for the cedi, the EIU holds a different view, as it projects that the cedi will come under some little pressure again, hitting 5 Ghana cedis, 31 pesos by the end of this year. It is even projecting a 5 Ghana cedi, 86 pesos for the cedi by the end of next year. The report also shows that government would miss out on its end-of-year inflation target of about 8%, but rather hitting 9.6%. While the IMF and the country's development partners were projecting some robust growth of 8.8%, making Ghana the highest in Africa, the EIU doesn't think so, as it's rather projecting a 5.6% economic growth rate, and far lower than what government is projecting. On the monetary side, it expects the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to keep the policy rate at 16%. Now, despite these challenging times ahead, the same EIU has indicated that the governing party, MPP, would see the economic situation generally improve during the remainder term in office, as it projects that Nana Akufo-Addo would be re-elected into office.
So other stories now, and Cocoa Board steps up efforts to address child labor in cocoa communities. How are they going to achieve that? We'll tell you more, plus other local stories in our summaries tonight.
The first quarter banking sector reports published by the Bank of Ghana has shown that the private sector accounted for 96.9% of the total non-performing loans within the industry. By this, the share of loans gone bad within the banking sector not attributable to the private sector represented 3.1%. Cocoa Board has initiated a program to establish a number of task forces which would monitor and control the use of children as laborers in cocoa growing communities across the country. This is being done through the Cocoa Health and Extension Division, a subsidiary, and forms part of a range of initiatives to address the issue of child labor in the cocoa value chain. The government has been urged to increase its budgetary allocation for the procurement of startup kits to enable business advisory centers in the various local assemblies reach out to more beneficiaries.